Hey guys, Davey from Peaker's Advantage here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a new Instructor Series that we're going to be doing. Today we're just going to be focusing on the responsibilities of the CT players on the B side on Dust 2. So, generally speaking, there's going to be two players towards the B side on Dust 2 on most CT side default setups. Sometimes there's going to be three towards long and two towards B, and depending on how your team is playing the round, one of those B players might have a responsibility of mid, and the other one might have a responsibility of B, or there might be another person, the third person from A is going to be rotating around and they have the responsibility of mid. It really depends on how your team is set up. So I'll try to go over most of those scenarios here. So usually what you want to do is you want to have one of the three guys from A just throw this cross smoke for you to get across to B. You need to throw this smoke every single round no matter what. Whether you're on eco, whether the only time you really don't need to throw it is if you know the other team is on eco and you're going to have your op hold mid because you know the other team's saving, so your op can just peek down this and just sort of take the mid fight, and you don't have to worry about it. But otherwise, even if you're on eco, you want to make sure that you're throwing this smoke every single round. Somebody needs to make sure you invest that $300 and get that smoke down because it just takes information away from the T's, which is really important. And then on the gun rounds, of course, it makes it so you don't die crossing, or at least makes it harder for them to kill you because this is a sweet game mechanic that everybody really enjoys. So okay, so now we're just going to be doing for this is for the deady B player, the person who's always going to be in the B site most of the time. Ideally, you want this to kind of be a secondary opper, or at least somebody who can use the op, because holding down the B site with the op is pretty easy. Not easy, but it's a strong weapon to use in the site, pretty much. Like there's a lot of good angles and there's a lot of places to hide, and it's a good spot. It's a good spot to have an opper. So ideally you want your B player to be good with the op. So of course, you want to make sure you're mollying this almost right away every single round. You want to make sure you're mollying this. Now, what's important is you don't want to throw the molly too deep, because what happens if you throw the molly too deep, like let's say you throw the molly to here, when the T's that are rushing in, when they smoke this off and jump through, look at now. Now they're through the smoke. The molly, they put out the molly, they're through the smoke, and they're not even open to the site yet. So you want to make sure that if they are going to put out that molly with the smoke, you want them to have to throw it right here, because that way they have to come all the way out to be able to fight. They have to come all the way out of the tunnel. There's no way that they can be hidden and still have the chance to fight. So you want to make sure that you throw it shallow enough that if they're going to put it out, they have to come all the way out to fight through their own smoke. So that's important. And then same thing, vice versa. Sorry, not vice versa, but Jesus. But same thing. When you're smoking off the tunnels, you want to make sure that it's a shallow enough smoke. You don't want the smoke to go too deep, because what happens if you throw it too deep is same thing. Somebody can come through it before you get there, and then they're already through the smoke, and then you're peeking thinking that the smoke's there, and then they peek out, and they have a chance to then that you're giving them a fight. So you don't want to do that. So that's just like the basic nade things. So if you're here by yourself and completely by yourself, you have no support from mid at all in any way. Like maybe your mid players died and you're here by yourself. You're in like the toughest spot ever at this point. Because what the most important thing for a B player to be able to do is, if you're in here by yourself and you have like a person out here towards mid or outside of the window or just somewhere, even CT spawn, then your job is to play in a spot, any spot, either whether it's at the box and you're just getting info, or generally speaking, if you're in the site by yourself, I think playing anywhere in the site is normally the best spot, because what you can do is you can play an angle like this. As soon as you see someone, you take the first fight and you immediately just hide. At this point, your job is to stay alive as long as possible, because by you staying alive, the people that are coming into the site now, they have to keep their crosshairs on you, and they're going to have to stop, and they're going to think you're going to peek, and they're going to be looking towards the site because they're worried about you peeking, and they have to try to kill you. Whereas if what happens is if you let's say you're taking this angle and you take this first fight and then you try to take a second fight and then you get traded and you die now, then the people that are running into the site, now they can focus completely on using their nades and keeping the rotators out of the site. They don't have to focus solely on the site, or they can turn and clear this. And just by staying alive, you're slowing down the T's from coming into the site. It's like the most important thing if you're a solo site player, is to make sure you stay alive for as long as possible to give your teammates time to rotate. So that is like the most important thing when you're inside of the site. Now there's plenty of angles you can play. There's one and done angles. Spots like car or closet or you know, here. We call this Humvee because there used to be a Humvee here. I don't know what everybody calls it, but that's what we call it. Spots like this, these are only good spots if you're if you're the B player. These are only good spots if you have a second person with you. Because the problem with playing a spot like this, if you're just completely by yourself with no rotate, is let's say they start coming out B, you get the first kill, even you get the second kill. Let's say you hit 2 really good shots, you get the first 2 kills, and then the third person trades you. Even if they have 2 people left alive now, like let's say it was a 4v3, you kill 2, now it's a 3-on-2. A 2v3 inside the B site for the T's is still a super winnable round for them. Like that's not like that's a good position for them to be in. You're better off playing if you're by yourself. You're better off playing somewhere in the site or even the plat box. Playing on plat isn't terrible, like just forgetting contact and then just hiding behind the box like this. It's not awful, but the site is like playing at the double stack box or back behind this box. Like even if you're playing right here, you can just get the first contact like this and then just hide like this and crouch behind this box. It's like think about how far they have to scale up to kill you. They have to run across here or run across here to be able to kill you if you're hiding here. And hiding is the most important thing once you get the first contact. Because what should happen once you get the first contact. So anyway, so that's the solo guys. What should happen is like for holding the B site is if you have one person in there, the second person needs to be somewhere in a position to throw counter flashes. So there's a couple different ones you can throw. This is the first one. If your teammate is like playing behind this box, like if they're playing in the site and you know they're playing in the site, just a simple flash through the door so that it just pops right through the door like this is like the best flash you can throw. And what's important when you're playing here is if your teammate's throwing this flash, you don't want to peek this way. Like you don't want to peek this way. You want to make sure you peek this way and kill anybody scaling up here. Ideally, your rotator should have 2 flashes. So you can throw the first flash through the door, and then the second flash high above the window, like deep, so that it lands here behind your teammate up in the sky to flash anybody that's scaling up through plat on them. So if you're in the site like this, the first flash comes, you peek, then immediately after the second flash should be popping behind you, and then you can peek again. But you want to just stay alive and wait for those flashes. And the rotator's job is super important on a round like this because the people who are rotating need to be throwing flashes. Now, what you want to do as a team, like if you're a team and this is something that you're going to be working on, you want to make sure you have names for your flashes so that the person in the site knows exactly what flash is being thrown. It's really important to stop team flashing. And the person in the site, you need to be paying attention. You need to be listening to what your teammates are telling you. So if your teammates run, like if you like let's say the guy in the site gets contact, you had a teammate that was playing like outside of B here and they were shoulder peeking, they were doing whatever, or they were rotating over, and the person in B gets contact, this person needs to immediately turn around and say door flash, site flash. And the person in the site needs to know exactly what flashes are being thrown. So you need to make sure that as a team you've communicated that and each person knows what flashes mean what. Another thing that the Germans do, I think this is a GOB B special. I don't know. Like this is something that I think GOB B is the first person to pioneer it, but most pro teams know about this or do it now. Is when you're throwing the flash, you say something. So you say flash, door flash. Bang. Right before it pops, you say bang, so that your teammate who's in the site knows that what flash he's peeking with. Because a lot of the times when teams are coming into the site, they're going to be throwing flashes like this or here, and they're going to be running in, and you don't want your teammate hearing some other flash, like an enemy flash, and thinking that it was your flash and peeking because he's like, oh, I heard a flash, I thought it was yours. By doing something like that, you eliminate that, but everybody has to be focused, and you have to make sure that you've communicated that as a team. So, yeah, the rotator's job is just as important as the person in the site's job. If you're the person in the site, you really, really need to focus on, okay, I got the first contact, even if you don't get a kill. You get the first contact, and now you just stay alive. That's it. You just stay alive. And if you happen to have any nades left at this point, you don't even want to take your nades out. You want to try to have used your nades at this point. The only thing I could suggest is if you're in the site and you get first contact, maybe throw a flash like this. That's about it. That's the only thing, just to slow people down from scaling up on you. Because if people are rushing up here, you want to just be able to slow them down as much as possible. Because a good T-side team will scale up fast. Like they'll scale up really fast. So if you're in the site here and you're like, okay, I'm hiding, you want to make sure you just keep your crosshair posted on this side. Don't peek, but watch this side because a good team will scale up fast on you. And yeah, they'll get on you quick. Okay, so that's if there's one person in the site and one rotator. Now, if you're playing two people in the site, this is where it gets a little bit more fun. You get to sort of mix it up a bit more because your sole responsibility isn't to stay alive for your teammates at this point because there's two of you here and you're just holding down one choke point. So now your job is to hold the choke point. So again, the first person coming in, you want to make sure that you're mullying this every time, no matter what. And then you can smoke it after too. It doesn't really matter. It depends on what you and your teammate want to do. If you feel comfortable smoking, it depends on if you're playing against a team who's more aggressive, not more aggressive. That's something you and your team would need to work out in practice. But yeah. So now that there's two people in the site, you can mix things up and play things a little bit differently. So you still always want to have one person somewhere in this area, somewhere in the site or the plat or anything, like maybe playing an angle like this, here, on the box, at the double stack, on top of the double stack. I've seen people play. It's pretty annoying. It's a little bit risky. Like this is, it's hard to get more and fall back, but it's not bad if you have multiple people here. Then after this, the second person, you're just baiting. You're just baiting at this point. So normally you want the same person that plays B always to be the person in the site. That way nothing looks weird and they don't know if there's a second person. But when you do have a second person here, that's when you want to start playing in the different spots, like playing in closet, at the car, at Humvee, at gate corner. Like you want to just play. That's when you want to have the second person here. And this is after you've conditioned the other team to think that you only play one person towards B. That's when when you think the other team might do a B split, or or you think they might go B this round, that's when you mix it up and throw the second person in here. And you always want to make sure, not always, I mean, like, it's not like 100% thing, like, you don't have to do this, but it's better if you make the person that's playing the site and plat area, if you make that person be the deady person that's always there, even when you have a second person in the site. That's pretty important. Okay, so now, you have two people in the site. Let's say you have one of the A rotators playing towards CT at this point, and the other team throws a mid to B smoke, and now they can be going mid to B. You have a couple choices. If you're in the site, you want this site guy to be the person who used his nades early. Now this second person who is playing, anywhere around here, you need to start deciding what you guys want to do. So you need to either smoke off the door and like molly the window or something. You need to delay the split from happening. And this person always saves their smoke. So you have some choices. So if this person, let's say this person's playing right here, and they're like, oh shit, they're splitting us B. Okay, smoke off close tunnels, and then play close to the tunnels, watching the tunnels and the window. And then the person that was in sight or plat, like you guys need to make sure you're communicating with each other on who's watching what. So they could be in the site watching the window, they could be holding door. Like, if the person was playing towards plat before, and you hear that the split's coming out, and this guy's like, okay, I'm here. He smokes off the tunnels. Maybe come here and watch the smoke, while this guy sits here and watches door and window. You just need to make sure that you're communicating with each other, and each person knows what the other person is watching. And make sure when you're making your setups with your teammates, you have a plan for what happens if you get split. Like, if you're playing, like, let's say you're playing car and site. And you guys need to know ahead of time, okay, if we start to get split B, what's our plan? Like, the plan could be, okay, we're splitting B, okay, I'm going to flash for you, and you flash the tunnel, and then this person that was car pushes up and they push the tunnel. Like, that can be your plan. You can have multiple plans, but you need to make sure that those plans are communicated and you have those plans in place so that you know, okay, like the person that's playing car is going to make sure that he saves his smoke. He's going to make sure that he saves his smoke, and if they call that we're splitting B, okay, make sure that you smoke off the door if we call that they're splitting B, right? And then the person that was here can come and play right behind the door and watch the window, or, anything, but you need to make sure that you have that planned out. And there's not like one way to do it right or wrong. You just need to make sure that you have a plan and everybody on the team knows what the plan is. And as long as you're doing that, even if like the plan doesn't work, you can tweak it in practice when you're playing and you can see, okay, when I want to change this, we want to change this, we need to fix this, this isn't working for us. And you can tweak it to fit your players and your team. But the most important thing is making sure that everybody on the team knows exactly what the plan is. That's the most important thing. And if you do that, your team is going to be a lot better. This has been Davey from Peaker's Advantage. Thanks for watching.